Hi there. Welcome to the second episode of Epic Experiences Beyond Cancer series. My name is Gail, aka Sunshine. I'm going to be leading tonight's second episode of the Beyond Cancer series. I want to start just by introducing Epic Experience. In case any of you are new, you haven't heard of Epic. Epic was founded in 2012 by Nancy Farrow after her oldest son was diagnosed with cancer and kind of had a hard time getting his life back on track. Epic's mission statement is short and sweet. Epic Experience empowers adult, if I can get it right. Let's try that again. Epic Experience empowers adult cancer survivors to live beyond cancer. That's the whole goal. And over the past 6 years, Epic has helped close to 300 adults do just that. And the camps are held up at the beautiful 7W Ranch in Colorado. It is an amazing place. And this year, 2019, one of our goals is to improve the lives of campers and those who haven't even gotten a chance to go to camp yet. We have a pretty long waiting list. So we're going to offer more local activities, programs, events, and things like this Beyond Cancer series. All right, so if you were here last time, the first episode featured Michael Farrow, who is the survivor upon whose story that the Epic Experience is even based. That's Nancy's son. So we did a little interview with him. This time we're going to do something a little different. But each series, we're going to do an interview with someone who's either a subject matter expert or someone who's somehow connected with Epic, and we'll have a question and answer time, and then we'll have a chance for questions toward the end. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different topics: relationships, jobs, physical fitness, exercise, mental well-being, a whole slew of topics. And if you have ideas, you can email them to Sabine, who is the head of the alumni group, and her email is sabine@epicexperience.org. Okay, and this series is for anyone, present or former campers, campers who are on the waiting list, their family, friends, anyone who's interested in Epic Experience. Okay, a little disclaimer: we're going to be presenting a lot of information. You're going to hear different people talking, but this is not to substitute getting medical attention if you need it. That's the short and sweet version. So please make sure you do that if you need it. All right. Okay. So next, I'm just gonna introduce the alumni team. There are now 10 of us, and I'm gonna have to read their names because we've recently added a few. So I'm one of the members. My name is Gail, aka Sunshine. Our fearless leader is Sabine, aka B. We also have Lynda, aka Yard Sale. We have Jessica, aka North. We have Adam, aka Mandy. There's a great story behind that one. We have Amanda, and actually, I realized I don't have all the nicknames. So Amanda, Sarah, Emily, another Amanda, and then we also have Brad, whose nickname is B-Rad. And I think I got everyone. So we are currently a group of 10 former campers who have shown a dedicated interest in helping push Epic's mission statement forward. So we really focus on keeping past campers engaged through social media, through events, and we're really hoping through this year to get people who are still on the waiting list engaged, so that, through local events and things like that. Okay, members are from across the U.S. I happen to be in California. We have people in Colorado, in Idaho, in New Jersey, all over the place. So that's us. That's the alumni team. Oh, the one I forgot one, Jordan. Jordan is Specs. He is also on the team, and he is also from California. All right, today what we're going to do, and again, if you're just tuning in, my name is Gail. I'm leading tonight's interview. We are from Epic Experience, the alumni team, putting on episode number 2 of the Beyond Cancer series. And tonight what we're going to do is we are going to interview one of the members of the alumni team, just so you kind of get a better idea of what the alumni team does. And so we're going to I am going to add our, she's on there, but I can't add her, Lynda. So if I can, Lynda, hopefully I will be able to add her shortly. But what we want to do is we want to introduce you to one of the alumni members, have her kind of tell you her story and kind of why she got involved, the benefits of volunteering, and a lot of things like that. So I am going to try again to add Lynda to our call here. Don't you love when there's technical difficulties? Sorry, I don't want to make you guys dizzy. Let me do it this way. Let's see. I apologize for the technical difficulty. We will resume with Lynda shortly. In the meantime, if you're just joining us, welcome. Tell people about, oh, there we go. Let's see if I can now. There we go. See? Gumby. I keep Gumby on my desk. Here's a little side note. I keep Gumby on my desk for moments just like this. There's Lynda.
Hey!
So this is Lynda, aka Yard Sale.
Hi there. Hey,
And
I'm going to try and change this and see if we can't do it this way. Nope.
wait, you're sideways right now.
Didn't work. It worked when B and I tried it earlier. Hi, everyone.
Nope, no problem. So this is Lynda. She is from Idaho, and she is going to tell us a little bit more about the alumni team and why she's involved and all of that fun stuff. So
Perfect.
first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your cancer journey, and all that kind of fun stuff?
Sure. I'm Lynda, aka Yard Sale, which is a great story coming up. If you would have asked me 3 years ago about me and who I was and where I was going, what have you, I would have said that I was a mom and a wife, and I had a great career. I work in the legal field. I have for 30 years. I ballroom danced, I horseback rode. I mean, I was the total outdoor chick, total fitness person, and really compartmentalized everything in my life. You know, nothing really meshed together. It was all very separate. I was totally in control of my life. And then I was diagnosed with stage 4 mantle cell lymphoma, which really took the wind out of all of my sails. You know, it was an arduous journey. My cancer journey was extremely difficult. Not like anybody else's wasn't difficult as well, but mine had a little bit of a challenge to it, that I was the only person in my area that had my kind of cancer. So my doctor, bless his heart, said, you need to go somewhere else. You need to go to go find a clinical trial. My prognosis was very grim. And so I began traveling 3,600 miles round trip for treatment. And I did that for 8 months, sometimes once a week. And after the 8 months, I then started my in-hospital chemotherapy for 4 months. And what that was is I would check in on a Monday and I would be released on a Friday evening or a Saturday morning. And I had chemo around the clock for those days that I was there. And I was exhausted, to say the least.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So in the midst of that, how did you hear about Epic? And then why did you, after hearing about it, why did you decide to go ahead and apply?
Sure. Actually, I stole a magazine from my doctor's office. That's a true story. You know, when you sit in that room for just too long, sometimes you know, do things you might not have done. Instead of ripping out the article I saw on Epic Experience, I actually just took the magazine. Okay, it was the only thing I've ever stolen in my life. But I did. I found an article, and it just seemed to fit me. It talked about how to get your life back on track again from the cancer. You know, just really, as they say, how to learn to live beyond cancer. And my cancer is never going to go away. And so I didn't know if I could qualify for something like this. So I put an application in, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go last June to Epic Experience. And our camp was called Big Girl Panties because you have to pull up your big girl panties when you have camp. So
were you all women at this camp, or were there guys who were also?
No, there was guys as well.
Pulling up their big girl panties. I love it.
They had to pull up their big girl panties as well.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you're just joining us, I'm Gail, and AKA Sunshine, and this is Lynda, AKA Yard Sale, and we're doing the second episode of the Beyond Cancer series, which is sponsored by the Alumni Team, which is a portion of the larger Epic Experience. So we're happy to have you. There will be a chance for questions later on, but if you have questions, just hold those for now. So, okay. So since I called you Yard Sale, I have to know why Yard Sale. Tell us the story behind your camp name.
You know, I won't blow it for everybody that's coming to camp, but let's just put it this way. You don't use your name, and somehow you get a name or you give yourself a name. And so on this drive up, which I think was, I'm going to say like 3 hours, you know, we stopped and we had breaks and had to get used to the altitude because it was pretty high, like 9,000 feet or something.
Yeah.
So for us flatlanders, I mean, that's pretty high up there. So we're talking, and everybody in my vehicle, they're getting their nicknames, you know, because they either had nicknames or something they said just was cute or funny. And I'm like the only one without a nickname, and I've never had a nickname in my life. And so I don't know what happened. Somebody said something about the skiing in Colorado, and I don't ski. And they're like, oh, why not? Is there a story? And I said, well, yeah, I went skiing one time. And during that time, I thought, you know, hey, I'm better than I was. So let's go up the big hill. So we do. And I come down and I have no clue what I'm doing. And I have this massive crash, and gear is everywhere. I mean, I've got a pole here and a ski there. And, you know, I think my goggles were up there. Anyway, the long and the short of it is I had a yard sale crash. And so in telling that story, Train Tracks, who is Michael Farrow, the gentleman that Sunshine mentioned, who was actually the reason for this camp to begin with, he just starts busting out and says, that's it, that's your name. I'm like, perfect. What? No, I'm Yard Sale.
Perfect. Yes, if you haven't gone to camp yet, that is one of the things you get to look forward to, is the creation of your nickname, which
that's right, you
may use outside of camp also, just, you know, for fun.
I bring Yard Sale with me. Yeah.
All right. So when did you're now a member of the alumni team, which is kind of why we're having you here. So when did you join the alumni team, and kind of what made you decide to do that?
Well, as you heard from my cancer journey, I was exhausted, completely drained. I was out of oomph, to say the least, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. I mean, I was pretty broken and really weary. And when I got to camp, I mean, I was happy enough, you know, I'm never really unhappy, but I mean, I was hurt and just needed a boost. So when I got to camp, I really didn't have an expectation, but it really took me by surprise what happened at camp and how my perspective on everything changed. And it didn't just jumpstart my activity level, it actually put me back into my life. And it put me back into my life in such a way that I knew I couldn't not give back. So immediately, before I had even left camp, I actually said to Mama Lou, who, that's Nancy, that's her nickname. I actually said to Mama Lou, I said, what can I do? You know, how can I help? And she's like, well, you know, get through camp first, you know. I'm like, no, really, I want to do something. And, you know, practically on the plane home, I was already writing thank you notes on behalf of Epic. I mean, it
Yeah.
was really quick. And so I took over the role of writing the thank you notes to all of our people that sponsor, because Epic is funded through grants and
Yeah.
donations. And the only way that
Right.
this happens is by, people supporting. I mean, I'm a monthly supporter.
Yeah.
Most of us on the alumni team are monthly supporters, and we do fundraising and fundraising pages. But we also send out a personal thank you to every single person that donates. And so
Yeah.
I took over that. Now I've got a couple people that help me. Cherry and Marianne, thanks. And I also just took on other roles. I started writing get well cards because we've got campers that relapse, and everybody
Yeah.
likes to have a nice card, a nice pick me up, and
Right.
occasionally we lose campers, and those
Right.
campers families get a nice card of sympathy from us as the group.
Yeah.
um, and so I don't know, I got on board with the alumni team just based on my desire to volunteer and help out, with everything, the behind the scenes stuff at camp,
Awesome.
and fundraising, and you name it.
Awesome. Well, if you're just joining us, just a reminder that we are Epic Experience, and this is episode 2 of the Beyond Cancer series, which is put on by the alumni team, of which Lynda, aka Yard Sale, is a member. And we're kind of interviewing her tonight about her experience as a member of the alumni team. So, well, you just mentioned that joining the alumni team kind of came out of what you do anyway. So where does that passion for volunteering come from that you have?
You know, it really started when my kids were in school. My
Okay.
oldest son actually went to a school that the socioeconomics were pretty diverse. We
Yeah.
had some kids in 6th grade that actually had a reading level of between 1st and 2nd grade, and
Okay.
so they were integrated from other countries and just did not know how to read, and some of them were just other individuals that just didn't know how to read. So what
Yeah.
started out to be 1 hour a week at my son's school as the reading mom turned into 2 and 3 hours every single day. I
Wow.
couldn't help it. I couldn't help but teach these kids how to read. And there was 5 of
Right.
them, and one of them graduated, and I'll tell you what, that was probably the coolest thing for me ever. She actually sought me out at
Yeah.
graduation and thanked me. And I was hooked
That's
from then
cool.
on. And so I've done I've done all kinds of volunteering. I have sat with hospice patients through their end of life.
Yeah.
I have volunteered for a couple of years as a grief facilitator for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I cooked for the homeless weekly for 3.5 years, and I've worked on cancer wards, just sitting with patients. And then Epic came along, and so that's my new volunteer home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were already sitting with cancer patients volunteering before you ever went to Epic or did
You
any of that?
know, yes, yeah, I was.
Wow.
But most of the time it was their end of life. It was through hospice
Yeah.
that I actually had
Right.
my first real time with cancer patients. And then after I got
Wow.
back from Epic, I started working at one of our local hospitals, volunteering on their cancer ward.
That's awesome. That that's awesome.
Thank
So I would say this is probably gonna be a pretty easy question for you to answer, but how has it improved your overall life?
Oh
All this
gosh.
volunteering. I
You know,
mean, you've been, pick any of the numerous things you've done, whether it's, the kids who are reading or sitting with the hospice patients or writing, um, you know, get well cards or whatever it is that you do. How has that improved your overall life?
you know, I get asked this question a lot. And I guess it's funny because most people think that when you volunteer, you're really just helping that person that you're volunteering for.
Right.
But it's kind of selfish in that when I volunteer, I
Yeah.
really, I think I get just as much and sometimes maybe more out of the experience than the person that I'm trying to help. You know,
Right.
just being open and vulnerable enough to go into these situations, perhaps this room or this area or this business, or, um, cooking or eating with homeless people that don't smell very well, or,
Right.
holding the hand of a dying person so that they're not alone. These are not easy things, but I'm telling you, once
Right.
you do something like that and open your heart up to those kinds of experiences, there's no turning back. And
Yeah.
for me, that is probably the most fulfilling thing I have ever done in my life, is to volunteer. And if I
Yeah.
could find a way to volunteer full time and still provide a roof over my head, I would do it.
Yeah. Right.
But
That's
and
awesome.
if I may, one other thing
Sure.
I'm asked about a lot about volunteering is, I don't people say to me, I don't have time to volunteer. So what I say to them, and what I would say to the people watching right now in regard to Epic, is it's okay if you don't have time to volunteer, because volunteering takes really two parts. It takes the time from some people that have the time, and it takes the financial resources from those that have the financial resources,
Right.
because not everybody has both parts of that, but most of us have
Right.
one or the other. And so I would really
Right.
suggest that if you don't have the time to volunteer for something, then perhaps you would consider a financial volunteer, because
Right.
that's how these programs continue to go, including Epic. That's how Epic continues to
Right.
run, is through fundraising and people being, donating of their own funds.
Right. Well, and okay, so that's a perfect segue. What are different ways that people can financially volunteer in that sense? Are there specific ways?
Sure, sure. Well, for Epic example, we have
Right.
fundraisers that the campers themselves can create pages. If they don't know how, they can just
Right.
ask one of the alumni mems. We're always available, by
Yeah.
the way. You can always reach out to us. You can text us, you can email, you can private message us, find us on the
Right.
Facebook. We'll help you set up a fundraising page. A lot of the campers do this for their birthdays, for a special event.
Right.
You can ask your family and friends to support in honor of somebody, if that helps too. Also, Mama
Right.
Lou has a sheet that shows you X amount of dollars will pay for all of the water bottles for the entire season.
Right.
When you break things down to see that, a
Yeah.
$5 donation goes a long way. So, a whole bunch of us putting together just our 5 and 10 and $20 every month, if we can all
Right.
do that instead of, have that cup of coffee, you've actually helped a
Right.
cancer member be able to participate in Epic. So there's,
Right.
there's ways like that.
Yeah, that's good.
We've got bigger ways, like people have done rock climbing events, and Epic will help
Right.
sponsor these things. Epic is willing to go to different events. All we have to do is just set it up. If I want to set up
Right.
something through my hospital, I'll just contact Epic and say, hey, come on out,
Right.
and you know somebody will
Right.
show up. So
Right. No, it's true.
there's a lot of ways, and we've got some
Good.
fun things coming up too, that to look forward to, like our step challenge. We've got the
Right.
alumni team is working on something called a step challenge, which is going to help encourage us to get off our fannies and get moving. And it's
Yeah.
we've talked about doing it based on steps, like everybody does with their Fitbits and what have you. And then we've also
Right.
talked about it by minutes. So I'm not sure how
Right.
that's going to come around. That's kind of in the works, but it's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Um, just in case you're joining us at the end here, we're interviewing Lynda, aka Yard Sale. This is the Epic Experience Alumni Team is putting on the series called Beyond Cancer, and this is our second episode. So I'm gonna, if any of you have any questions about the alumni team or for Lynda in particular about volunteering, about her cancer experience, you can go ahead and put them in the comments. And in about 5 minutes probably, I'll start asking her those questions as well. So you mentioned the step challenge. So are there any other areas the alumni team is currently kind of getting things going that you can share?
Well, I'm gonna check my notes, make sure I say everything I'm supposed to say.
The step challenge was the big one, but I was just wondering if there's any others that.
You know, the step challenge is awesome, and that is a big one for the volunteering in regard to helping us, you know, stay connected, right, that kind of thing. We can also, you know, one thing that I do want to mention about the alumni team is there's so much behind the scenes that goes on. You know, for example, our friend Gail, who's in front of you, she does all of the editing for everything. We've got people that work on social media. We've got people that keep the campers connected, that do all the local stuff. Right. I mean, there's ways to volunteer just darn near everywhere. And if you're not in right. Colorado, be there, then like I said, we can help you set up something through an outreach with your hospital or, you know, your local lymphoma society or whatever. You know, there's always something right. to bring Epic name so that we can bring more, you know, recognition to Epic. The more people that know about Epic, the right. more campers that help, you know, and the more we can just keep this thing going so that more and more people can be involved in Epic. But, and I'd like to do a plug for myself if possible.
Perfect. Well, that's what I was just going to ask you is if there's any projects or things that you personally are working on, maybe you can share those with us.
I am, and I'm super excited. So when I said that Epic really was not just, you know, changing as far as getting me up and active again, it really did change my perspective. And when I went to camp, I didn't have the best memory at the time, and I still struggle with my memory a bit. But at the time, I was carrying around a little notebook, and, you know, I was writing everything down, and everybody was giving me a bad time. You know, what are you writing in there? And I'm like, everything you say, you know, and it kind of became a joke, you know, because you really bond. You've got no cell phone. You don't have any internet. Right. I mean, okay, there's like dial up at the ranch, but holy cow, you know, I mean, so you're not connected to anyone, you know, except for right. your group. And so I'm right. writing everything down, and pretty soon somebody said to me, you know, blah, 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 blah. And she said, and I'm like, no, that's not exactly it. And I thumbed back through, and I'm like, what they really said was blah, blah, blah. And pretty soon it kind of got to be this funny thing about, oh, well, ask the scribe, you know, she wrote everything down. And right. And, you know, so perfect. People started saying, oh, you should write a book. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I've been kind of kicking that around, but I don't know what to write about. By the end of camp, right. I kind of had an idea what to write about. What I learned through Epic's experience was that it did not matter who the person was. It did not matter their gender, their age, where they came from, their economics, nothing mattered. Race, religion, creed, nothing mattered. Everybody that had cancer was the same. We all had the same heartache. We all had the same fears. We all were the same right. worried over money, over relationships. We all had the same conversations about our partners or lack thereof, you know, the fear of right. our children or this or that. It just did not matter. And so I actually sat at the table one night after dinner and just asked some really tough questions, and everybody was kind enough to answer them. And through that, I wrote a book. And it was accepted by a publisher. And so it will be in my hands in August, and it will be to the public in October. Great. And our friend Chris Taylor, who is another camper, aka Fig, he drew pictures, paintings of, I think,
Right.
20 of us campers. And so the publisher is actually going to use that collage for the front of my book. And it's called Voices of
That is so
Cancer.
cool.
And another way to give back is I actually am donating to Epic a portion of all of the proceeds that are sold from that book.
Awesome.
Because if it wasn't for Epic, I would not have pursued that dream.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. Thank you. Well,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're going to open it up. If anyone has a question for Yard Sale, you can just put it in the comments. And again, if you're joining us now, this is the episode 2 of the Beyond Cancer series by Epic Experience. Today we're interviewing a member of the alumni team, Lynda, aka Yard Sale, who is about to become a New York Times bestseller, according to one comment here. So if you have any questions for her about the alumni team, about volunteering, about Epic Experience, go ahead and put those in the comments, and I will pass those on to her. Anything else, Lynda, that I haven't asked you about that you've thought about? Hold on, I'm gonna do one.
One thing.
Sorry about that.
One thing that I would also
ahead.
like to mention, once you are a camper, then you actually have an opportunity to possibly volunteer at camp. So, volunteering can be
Right.
all kinds of things.
Right.
I'm hopeful. I mean, my fingers are crossed that I get to go back to camp and be a volunteer. So what happens at camp is there's a very small amount of campers, and it's almost like 2 campers to 1 volunteer. I mean, there's a lot of volunteers
Right.
that go that help cook. We've got somebody on the medical staff, so campers never have to worry about, what if they're sick, because it's my understanding that generally somebody doesn't feel well. We all have cancer in
Right.
one degree or another. So,
Right.
we're not healthy. So we've got,
Well,
I'm sorry?
Let me ask you that since you're on this idea of volunteering. So if people are interested in the volunteering, who should they talk to?
A good person to reach out to would be someone on the alumni team. I would love to just say Sabine, but then that throws a lot of pressure on her. So really just reach out to your alumni team. You can always talk to Mama Lou, but she's got so many other things on her plate that as part of the volunteer team, we really try and take some of that extraneous things away from Mama Lou and Wingman, who is Colin. And, because they've got to run Epic. So we try and do the background stuff. So I would really strongly suggest reaching out to the alumni team, and you can find us. We're everywhere.
Okay. And another question from the peanut gallery here. So if someone out there is thinking about applying to Epic, okay, they've heard about it, they stole a magazine, they, whatever. Somehow they found out about Epic. What would you say to them if they're thinking about applying?
I would say apply right now, because there is such a huge amount of population that wants to go to camp. And unfortunately, we are very limited with the number of people that can go. We're doing our best to get more weeks, because it's a full week that you go. You get in on a Sunday and you fly on a Saturday. And up at the 7W Ranch, we have just a limited amount of space and a limited amount of weeks that we are allowed to use the ranch. So we're doing more small venues, if you will. We're trying to do a couple of weekend venues, maybe one in California and maybe one in another state, and as well as some day projects, if you will, so that other people can get an Epic experience. But if you want to go to camp, I cannot stress it enough. just put in the application, get your doctor to sign off on your health, and just start crossing your fingers, because it is life changing. And don't give up, try again the next year. Just make
Yeah.
sure you get on that list. And, I don't know, maybe just send a little email that says, hey, I'm really interested. If you have any people that back out, I don't know if that would help, but.
Right. You never know. Well, that's the bottom line. You said it. Just do it. Just apply.
Let's
So,
do it. Yes.
all right. We have another question for, and I don't know if you volunteered yet, but is the experience of volunteering different from being a camper? Do you feel like you can answer that one?
I probably can't answer that one, but I know you can.
This is true, but this is about you.
Okay.
I will say, yes, it is different, but it is equally awesome.
As rewarding. I can imagine.
Just as rewarding. It is exhausting, but it is just as much fun. Every bit as rewarding, every bit as life-changing as actually going to camp. So
nice.
There you go. Any other questions for Lynda here? And again, if you're a very late viewer, this is Lynda, aka Yard Sale, then I am Gail, aka Sunshine, and we are from Epic Experience. We're both on the alumni team, and this is the second in a series called Beyond Cancer that the alumni team is kind of putting on. And we're wrapping this up today. We're interviewing Lynda kind of as her perspective on volunteering, on specifically volunteering with the alumni team, and also shouting out about her book, which will be coming out in August. That's going to have a bunch of epic people's faces on the cover, plus words in there, and that's really exciting. So, any other questions out there for Lynda, aka Yard Sale? If not, then we will wrap up this second series. Well, Lynda, thank you so much for your time, for being such an excellent example of someone who's just giving back in every way that you can. Obviously, that's been your life up until this point too. So, if you have any questions about camp, about the alumni team, about volunteering, about a fundraiser page, about the new step challenge that's coming up, about Lynda's book, you can contact either of us. I'm Gail at epicexperience.org, and Lynda, I believe, is Lynda, Lynda.
That's right.
At epicexperience.org. Or you can contact Sabine at epicexperience.org, and one of the three of us can answer your questions. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.